Welcome to our presentation today on advancing theory through research, a grounded theory with grounded action presentation by Kara Vander Linden, Patrick Palmieri, and me, Lori Peterson. So I'm going to start with a question. What is theory? Now, theory is a little bit different depending on which discipline you come from. And I have a couple of quotes here from experts who are talking about what is theory. Lee and Lings tell us that theory is regarded as a set of interrelated concepts or ideas that explain some aspect of the real world. Corley and Goya talk about theory as a statement of concepts and their interrelationships that shows how and or why a phenomenon occurs. Shelby Hunt talks about how theory specifies three criteria. One, the systematically related criterion, the generalization criterion, and the empirically testable criterion. But I want to leave you with a question. And so the question is, why is theory important in my discipline? Now I'm going to transition to Patrick, who will tell us about the next step.
So why are we making up theories when we can systematically develop them using research? And when I say making up theories, I'm referring to the process of making hypothesis and then going to the literature searching for reasons and rationales and support for the hypothesis, and then constructing a theory not based upon empirical data. And this brings us to what is a grounded theory? Grounded theory is a research methodology designed specifically to generate theory from data, systematically connected in a specific topic area. Grounded theory refers to both the methodology and the resulting theory. Again, theory resulting from empirical data. So, same methodology, but four different approaches. And when I say different approaches, I'm speaking about traditions because we don't have time in this presentation to go into the ontology and epistemology of the different ways in which we conduct grounded theory. But everybody should know that there's at least four different ways of conducting grounded theory. The first one is a positivist, post-positivist approach, which is often referred to as classic or Glazerian grounded theory. Glaser invented grounded theory, and as you'll learn later in the presentation, invented it because of the fact that he published the first single article focused on the engine of grounded theory, which is the constant comparative method. Then the second tradition, the second approach is symbolic interactionist, also called Straussian grounded theory. And this is the area of grounded theory where Strauss separated from Glaser, and the approach developed in a different way. The third approach is constructivist or Charmazian, and Charmaz was a student of Glaser and Strauss, and she went off to do a different way of grounded theory, and her approach was primarily influenced by her work with nurses to be a constructivist grounded theory, and you can read more about that at a later time. The fourth approach is interpretist or Guillaumin, which is more from the business area, and it's not well known. This approach predates Charmaz's constructivist grounded theory, which is very well known. So the point I would like to make to everybody in this presentation is that there's one methodology, but different approaches to doing grounded theory. So what does Glaser have to say about grounded theory? Remember, Glaser is the granddaddy of grounded theory, and his specific approach, Glazerian or classic grounded theory, I want you to keep that in mind. But according to Glaser, classic grounded theory is based on the systematic generating of theory. So we're generating theory from data that itself is systematically obtained from social research. In this regard, Glaser defines grounded theory as a general methodology of analysis linked with data collection that uses a systematically applied set of methods to generate an inductive theory about a substantive area. Again, we're developing theory from empirical data.
Now, I will provide an overview of the process of conducting a grounded theory and grounded action study. In this overview, we will look at the preparation stage, the initial data collection stage, the open coding stage, the selective coding stage, the integration and delimination stage, and writing up the theory. That part is all the classic grounded theory stage. Then I will explain the development of the explanatory theory, the operational theory, the action plan, the action, assessment, and modification, which composes the grounded action portion of the process. We will be quickly looking at each stage in this process. Let's begin with the preparation stage. The preparation stage is composed of reading the books about grounded theory. You should always look at seminal books and articles. Topic area selection. We will discuss a little bit about the literature review. We'll discuss about the importance of limiting preconceptions. We'll talk about the role of the purpose statement and research question. And we'll talk about what types of data and population are used in a grounded theory study. Let's start by looking at the recommended reading. It's always important to begin by gaining an understanding of what grounded theory is and how it is conducted. I recommend starting with these essential books. The first is Experiencing Grounded Theory by Dr. Otis Simmons. This is a great way to get an overview of grounded theory in an easy-to-read book. I also recommend that you read Theoretical Sensitivity, Doing Grounded Theory, both by Dr. Barney Glaser. These are considered seminal books that are very important that you read. Also, The Discovery of Grounded Theory by Dr. Barney Glaser and Anselm Strauss. This is the book where they first articulated the development of grounded theory. Classic Grounded Theory by Judith Holton and Isabel Walsh is available through Sage Methods. So if you have access to Sage Methods through your library, this is a wonderful resource. You can also find a more detailed reading list on mentoringresearchers.org, where we have broken down different topics related to grounded theory and provided readings about each topic. So the next step in conducting a grounded theory study is to select a general topic area. This is often called a substantive area. The topic area is very general. It is not narrowed down based on the literature or by finding a gap in the literature, as is common in other research methods. In grounded theory, we avoid doing a preliminary literature review. The primary reason to avoid literature, especially existing theory on a topic area, is to limit preconceptions so that you can focus on what is in the data. The data, the collection and analysis of the data, is what drives the research process. Like the topic area, the purpose statement and research question are worded broadly. For example, a purpose statement might be, the purpose of this study is to develop a theory about a main concern for people who manage remote workers and the patterns of behavior used to address this concern. The corresponding research question might be, what is the main concern for people who manage remote workers, and how do they address this concern? The problem in a grounded theory study is discovered in the data because it is the problem or issue being experienced by the people within the topic area and not a predetermined problem identified by the researcher, either based on the literature or on their professional experience within the field. So what kind of data is used in classic grounded theory? Well, Glaser says all is data. This is one of the unique aspects of grounded theory. Grounded theory can use traditional forms of data, like qualitative data, such as interviews and observations. It can use quantitative data, like surveys, or it can use untraditional forms of data, like photos or music or blogs. It doesn't matter what type of data you use, you're looking for the data that will best help you develop the emerging theory. While any type of data can be used, open-ended, in-depth interviews often provide a source of high-quality data for a grounded theory study. And because of that, it is the form of data that is most commonly used. Interviews typically use a spill or a grand tour question, which is a broadly worded question that invites the participant to talk about your topic area. For example, you might use the question, "Tell me about your experience managing remote workers," if you were conducting a study based on our previous purpose statement and research question. Then, the researcher allows the participant to talk openly about whatever is relevant to the participant, and then the researcher follows up using probing questions about the topics that the participant brought up. This leads to an in-depth interview that is guided by the participant. Data analysis begins as soon as the first piece of data is collected. The constant comparative method of analysis, as Patrick mentioned earlier, is the method of data analysis used in grounded theory. This method of data analysis is used across many forms of grounded theory, and it was developed by Dr. Barney Glaser, and he published about it in 1965 before the publication of the Discovery book by Glaser and Strauss. Constant comparative analysis begins with open coding the data. Here's an example of open coding. The researcher identifies all the words and phrases that seem to indicate a concept. You can see them here in this example, they're highlighted. And then the researcher gives them a conceptual name called a code, and the code is the name of the concept that the indicator is indicating. Constant comparative method of analysis involves comparing all the incidents of data for each code, such as enduring loss in this example, to develop the concept. The researcher identifies the properties and dimensions of the concepts and the relationship among the concepts. So, for example, how enduring loss might relate to pain. All of this is captured in researchers' memos. You can see a few examples of researchers' memos here on this slide as well. Data collection is driven by theoretical sampling. That is the approach of sampling that is used in grounded theory. This means that the researcher analyzes each piece of data and then allows that data analysis to direct the researcher to what participant or data source is needed next. Data collection and analysis becomes a recursive process as the researcher codes and analyzes the data, collects more data, codes and analyzes that data, which directs the researcher to the next piece of data needed. And that continues throughout the whole process of conducting a grounded theory study. Open coding continues until the main concern or core category are discovered via data analysis. The main concern is the problem or issue that the people within the topic area are trying to address. Their behaviors are directed at this issue or problem. The core category is the pattern of behavior used to address the problem or issue. The core category is also called a core variable or a core concept. Glaser has used those terms interchangeably. Now we're going to talk about selective coding. Once the main concern and core category are discovered, the researcher transitions to selective coding. Selective coding is coding just for the concepts that are related to the core category and memoing about the relationship among those concepts. This continues until theoretical saturation is reached. Theoretical saturation is the point where no new variation is found among the concepts that changes or affects the way the behaviors are being used to address the main concern. Once theoretical saturation is reached, the researcher moves on to the integration and delimination stage. The researcher moves between four main components as the theory begins to come together. These components are sorting, theoretical codes, memoing, and a theoretical outline. This is one stage of the process where researchers are sometimes tempted to give it a little less attention or time. And this can really affect the end product or the end theory of your study. Sorting involves sorting the memos to discover how the concepts relate to each other. The researcher is not sorting data. Sorting often produces more memos as the researcher has insights as to how the concepts relate to each other. Sorting helps the researcher discover the theoretical codes which tie the theory together. Theoretical codes help the researcher discover the best way to present or explain the theory by identifying the underlying structure of the theory. This also can lead to more memoing. As the researcher sorts and discovers the emergent theoretical codes, a theoretical outline is formed, and then the memos are sorted into the theoretical outline. This outline with the sorted memos becomes the first rough draft of the theory, which the researcher then edits and refines into a final draft. I recommend that you write your full draft of your theory before you integrate examples in literature. This is where the literature review happens. The researcher looks at the literature and integrates literature in that relates to the theory and the concepts within the theory and explains how the theory relates to existing theories within the field. Theories produced using grounded theory are useful for practical applications since they are developed directly from the data within the topic area. And this leads us to grounded action. Grounded action is a pragmatic, applied research method that expands upon grounded theory as a research-based approach to planning and implementing action or change within a topic area. The theory that was written up as the end result of the classic grounded theory is the starting point for the grounded action study. Grounded action begins with the explanatory theory, which is what the grounded theory is called in grounded action. The explanatory theory explains what is happening within a topic area. Using it as a guideline or theoretical framework, the researcher creates an operational theory that identifies where actions to promote change are possible within the topic area. The operational theory operationalizes the explanatory theory, thus getting its name. Then the researcher uses the operational theory to develop a specific action plan to implement. Thus, the explanatory theory and the operational theory guide the action within the topic area. The researcher then implements the action plan. Using the idea from grounded theory that all is data, the researcher continuously collects data and analyzes it using constant comparative method of analysis while implementing the action. Theoretical sampling, constant comparative method of analysis, and memoing that began in the grounded theory portion of the study continues with grounded action and is used to inform modifications as needed at any level of the process. This may include modifying the action plan, modifying the operational theory, or even modifying the explanatory theory based on the analysis of new data. This aligns with one of the basic tenets of grounded theory, which is that a grounded theory is always modifiable based on new data. Whereas most theory is made up, grounded theory is systematically generated from data gathered directly from the topic area. The resulting theory fits the data, is relevant to the people involved, and is general enough to be applicable in a variety of situations. It also provides the user with at least partial control within the situation. Using a grounded theory to guide practical action increases the likelihood that the action will produce the desired effects. Grounded action provides a research-based approach for designing and implementing change resulting from a grounded theory. In closing, grounded theory produces the theory that explains what is occurring within the topic area, and grounded action provides a way of taking action and promoting change. This slide provides a high-level overview of the process. If you are interested in learning more about grounded theory and grounded action, or would like support in conducting a grounded theory and grounded action study, please contact us at the Institute for Research and Theory Methodologies. You can find us at www.mentoringresearchers.org. Thank you so much for listening.